Continue our caucus coverage tonight on KTIV. You know, it wasn't just Republicans caucusing tonight in the state of Iowa, though they're the only ones reporting results this evening. Iowa Democrats also gathered at caucus sites across the state tonight to discuss party business, and a lot different than done years prior. KTIV's Irvin Doman explains.
Although most eyes were focused over on the GOP side of things on caucus night, that didn't stop the Woodbury County Democrats from organizing in what they call a grassroots effort to try and build Democrat leadership up from local government levels all the way to national government.
This year we have tried to have a more inclusive caucus by having a two-part process for the grassroots organizing in person on caucus night, as well as the mail-in preference cards, which is still ongoing.
Those mail-in cards can be requested all the way up until February 19th using the Iowa Democrats website. Even though no results came out Monday night for the Democratic Party, officials were pleased with the participation, especially considering the conditions.
Given how cold it was, given the lack of expectations and a lot of not much focus on what's going on with the presidential side for the Democrats, it was a really good turnout.
Officials also pointed out they saw a good amount of people from key precincts, which they think is a good sign for the future of the Democratic Party, and more specifically, the results of the caucus that will be available on March 5th.
I was excited about those who turned up tonight to get more Democrats involved, to elect more Democrats from the local level to the state legislature, the county board of supervisors, and also at the national level.
In Sioux City, Irvin Doman, KTIV News 4.